Thanks for staying with us on the conversation. Now, switching gears to Senegal, opposition politician Ousmane Sonko, who is also a candidate in the 2024 presidential election, has been sentenced to 2 years imprisonment by a criminal court in Dakar. The court found him guilty of corrupting young people, but acquitted him of rape.
Now, alongside Sonko, Ndèye Khady Ndiaye, the owner of the beauty salon where Sonko was accused of repeatedly abusing a female employee, was also sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. Sonko supporters argue that the case against him is politically motivated, leading to significant divisions within Senegal, a situation that has triggered multiple protests. Now, joining us on this discussion today on The Conversation, we have Imoh Edet, senior journalist, West African Democracy Radio, joins us from the Senegalese capital, Dakar, and Dr. Basseine Pape Chérif Bertrand, a lecturer at the University Cheikh Anta Diop, both joining from Dakar, Senegal. One welcome to you, gentlemen, and thanks for joining us on The Conversation.
Thank you for having us.
Now, I'd like to start with you, Dr. Bertrand. Ousmane Sonko has been found guilty of corrupting youth with a 2-year jail sentence. Can you tell us more about the circumstances surrounding these charges against Sonko? And yesterday there were widespread demonstrations in the capital, Dakar. What's the situation now as we speak? Has calm been restored? And what are the widespread implications of this verdict?
Thank you for having me. Today is Friday, and in Senegal, people tend to come out after the Friday prayers. So right now I cannot tell, but they have a meeting at 3:30, and we'll see later. Maybe after this show, we'll see what will happen. But people are even late yesterday night, they were demonstrating. The youth, woke up to demonstrate and to face the regime and to face the law enforcement. So we don't know what will happen next, but today they are very determined to wake up and to defend their leader.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Bertrand. I'm going to bring Imoh to this conversation right now. We've seen lots of protests. We've seen so many things concerning the trial of Ousmane Sonko. So the big question is, does this conviction still threaten to rule him out of next year's vote? Or can he still be eligible for next year's vote in the 2024 election? So tell us more about this trial of Ousmane Sonko.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think, first of all, as it stands now, Sonko most likely may not be able to run for the 2024 elections. He is not the first person that, will be facing such a situation. And the reason why we've seen bouts of protests, month-long protests, is because of the verdict on June 1. The idea was to prevent the court from taking that action against Sonko, which eventually they did. Initially, the state prosecutor had requested for a 10-year jail term, but somehow it was brought down to 2 years. And now the other thing is he wasn't even there in court. And so if the state gets to arrest him, then there may be more trouble. Otherwise, he can still appeal if he's able to turn himself in within the next 15 days.
Now, stay with you, Imoh. What's the situation like in Senegal as we speak?
Well, it's like a war zone. The streets are deserted, shops are closed. You can still see remnants from burnt cars, destruction of public properties, especially infrastructures or buildings owned by foreigners. The superstores are being looted. Cars are being destroyed. The streets are basically empty, and everyone has been asked to stay indoors for their safety. Most people are working from home, and for people like us, we were able to sneak into the radio to do a couple of things before heading back home, because what happened today. Now, what may prompt more protests is if is arrested, because we understand that he may be picked up any moment now, and that really may spark another bout, maybe a deadlier protest from what we've seen in the last 2-3 days. So right now, everybody is holding their heart in their hands, fingers crossed, hoping that, with the military deployed on the streets of Dakar, maybe that may deter the protesters from gathering. Also, the internet here.
Okay. I think he's alluding to the
Yeah,
internet
been
connection.
restricted. It's
Okay.
really tough here.
All right, just like what he's saying there, he's talking about the internet connections in Senegal, quite bad, and we're seeing that live and direct. I'm going to bring in Dr. Bertrand. We've seen lots of protests, most especially, just like your earlier submission, it's coming from the youths. And some people are saying that this verdict is a step in President Macky Sall's plot against Sonko. So, first of all, can you give us some clarity on this? Why are they making such insinuations? And do you actually see this as a plot against Ousmane Sonko?
Okay, the judiciarization of the political field, start to begin, let's say, in 2012, when President Macky Sall came to power. The first person he eliminated as a contender was the son of President Abdoulaye Wade. And when another contender, who is Khalifa Sall, became the mayor of Dakar, he won Dakar. Dakar is the biggest city in Senegal, as you know. So it was a threat for his re-election. What he did, he still used the political arena to condemn him for, mismanagement of his mayorship. So when the case of Ousmane Sonko came, Ousmane Sonko has a very good file of being someone very clean in terms of managing, financial issues, because he was working on the domain and taxes, as a general inspector. He has no bad files there. So Ousmane Sonko came as a leader, a very clean leader, the one the youth can count in. And when Macky Sall, or the regime, I won't say Macky Sall, started bringing judicial cases, people start doubting, maybe if they step back and wait, they will still use the judiciary system to condemn him and to eliminate him as the #1 contender right now in Senegal. That's why when the issue of sexual harassment came up, no one believed it. So they say this is also another case that they are going to use to eliminate someone who can end his next ambition to be the president of Senegal. You can add up the fact that, we are discussing about whether he can be a candidate for a third term, etc. There is a pile of circumstances, and adding the fact that Senegalese are not fooled. They know that the judiciary system is right now used to eliminate political, contenders. So that is what we're finding. That's the truth. When it comes to talk about the judiciary system, it's not here for the people, and it's not listening to the people. So now we have the people for whom the judiciary system is here for them. They are raising up to face those who are using it badly or for their political gains.
Now, Dr. Bertrand, looking at the history of Senegal, Senegal has often been touted as a bastion of stability and democracy in the West African region. If you look at their neighbors to the east and west and also north, there's been a lot of turmoil there, but Senegal has been spared a lot of these political upheavals that we've witnessed from its neighbors. So why is this happening now? Is it because President Macky Sall, he hasn't come out to say he will contest for a third term, but there are insinuations that, he might just be doing this in order to, break constitutional term limits and contest for a third term?
What is happening to Macky Sall is quite interesting. If we take it as a historian, you will see that this guy, went there to fight against the third term of Abdoulaye Wade. And if you listen carefully his message, this is a message of violence. He's telling, you can var him, you can var him. I don't know how to say it in English. You can go back and check the files or the records. He's telling people to confront Abdoulaye Wade. You know, he's asking the police, the law enforcement, not to step in a political arena. That is the people for them to wake up and defend democracy. So this is the same message Ousmane Sonko was using. And when Macky Sall used it, people listened to him, and he was allowed to be a president based on that, you know, violence message. And the problem with Ousmane Sonko, Macky Sall was the first one to eliminate the Marabout, our Muslim leaders. You know, I don't know how to call them. Yeah, our religious, you know, leaders. He was the first one to say that there are people, there are citizens like everyone. Do not listen to them. So this is what is happening right now. The youth is telling the Marabout, you know, we are not going to listen to you. This is our problem. This is another generation. So
it's our fight.
In a society like Senegal, when you keep quiet the Marabout, you are going to face trouble, because they are here like, you know, the wisdom message. They are the only one to give.
Okay, I want to bring Imoh into this conversation, and we've seen a whole lot from Macky Sall. He was trying to fight the third term, and now there's speculation for it. On Wednesday, he called about for a national dialogue initiative, and we're still seeing protests going on. Is there any hope of this being resolved, or will it be till Ousmane Sonko is released from prison or something is done about it? How can we see an end to this situation going on in Senegal?
Well, I think this goes beyond the national dialogue, like the Prof mentioned. You know, when national dialogue like this are called for, it's either the ruling government just want to find a way of, you know, dancing into the heart of the population. But as it is, this goes beyond the national dialogue. And besides, the dialogue we started on Wednesday, may have to wait till next week before we will know the actual conclusion. If the stakeholders involved, the political actors, religious leaders, and all those that have been invited for the dialogue will make a way ahead. Like I said, the population, making up of young people, a lot of them supporters of Ousmane Sonko, really want a case where Sonko is allowed to be part of next year's election. So it goes beyond the national dialogue. In fact, right now, the youth on the street are not even listening to whatever they're saying at the national dialogue. All they want is release Sonko, let Sonko be part of those that will contest in the 2024 elections. And this basically, I mean, is what the ruling party really may not want to see. And as regards the president who hasn't been able to come forth, whether he's running for a third term or not, you know, this is a speculation that has fueled months of protests. If you are in an election year, it is expected, in fact, from December last year, one would have thought the president would have come forth to announce, okay, I am running for a third term, or I am not running. This is the person I am pushing forward to run. But he has allowed, you know, all of that to linger, causing bouts of protests, destruction of properties, and a whole chaos in the country. So I really can't tell now if there's going to be a way ahead. Although the military have been deployed on the street, perhaps that may calm the nerves of protesters. But again, the best thing and ultimately is for the state to declare to impose a curfew either in Dakar or across the country. Maybe with that, they can actually monitor and then calm the nerves of the young people. But for now, we really don't know if this will end anytime soon. You know, like the Prof mentioned, after prayers, even with the internet restriction, they can still gather, mobilize themselves. In fact, not too far from where I am is Sonko's house. So here is tense. The military all over around us, the gendarmerie, they're all here. So it's just if I want to stay indoors and see how this entire drama plays out.
All right, thank you so much. But quickly, I just want to ask one thing, and quickly, I want the answer. The elderly, are they also in support of Ousmane Sonko? Because you talked about the youths. Are the elderly in support of Ousmane Sonko? Imoh, can you hear me?
It's a 50-50 thing, you know. Yes, I can hear you. It's a 50-50 thing. You know, a lot of people feel it's time for us to bring on board a young person. A very good example is Nigeria. I mean, people wouldn't really want people who are above 50s or 60s. And he has been able to appeal to a lot of people here in Senegal, not just the youth, but, you know, middle age, the average, average age of the population, the elderly, because his party and other coalition members have been going about to markets, religious centers, places of meetings to canvass, to campaign, and talk to people about bringing in a young person in the person of Ousmane Sonko. So he has a large followers. So when I say young people, not just 100% young
but
people,
everyone.
A mix of elderly and, of course, the young persons.
Thank you very much, Imoh Edet. We have to go at this point. Senior journalist, West African Democracy Radio in Dakar, and also Dr. Basseine, Pape, Chérif, Bertrand, lecturer at the University Sheikh Anta Diop. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time and contribution. We do appreciate your insights. Thank you.
Thank you.